a difference a year makes, baby. I tell you what. Here's one thing I know when we first got started. Hey, we started and we didn't quit, baby. And that's what we're all going to do, right? We start and we don't stop. We keep rolling. Oh, my goodness. We are Mike and Noelle Lewantowicz. We're from Louisville, Kentucky. That's Louisville for Kentuckians. Louisville for the rest of y'all. So a little bit about how we got started in this business. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the lessons that we've learned along the way. Hopefully you can take some notes. By the way, take notes this weekend. Stay focused, okay? Remember the reason you're here, okay? A lot of you took a lot of, struggles and things to get in here. We all had to make sacrifices. So make sure you get the most out of it this weekend, okay? So when I first got started in this business, I was a recruiter. I was a headhunter at a company, and I was making 100% commission at that job, but I wasn't making any money. And a guy that was sitting next to me, his name was Alex Abian. He's in this room, and you're going to hear from him. He's got a banner up there. Popped his head up over the cubicle, and he asked me if I wanted to make some money. I was like, yes! And he pulled me out, and we drove 9 hours, my first meeting, and I sat in a room with 50 people, and I got fired up. I met a guy by the name of Andy Albright there. And I saw him on stage, and I saw the fire in his eye, and I saw how he's like, it's crazy not to make money in this business. You understand we have leads. We have people asking for help. All we got to do is talk to them. And I got fired up. I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to do this thing. My husband, Mike, hi, wave. He did not want to do this. He was very skeptical about this business. So if some of you are like me and are like, oh, my gosh, we can do this, or some of you are like Mike, skeptical. Is this real? It's okay either way, but just remember, start and don't quit. Okay? And I came back from that meeting, and I told Mike I was going to get I'm going to get my life insurance license. He was like, okay, you go ahead and do that. And you can share a little bit about your background, how we.
Yeah, at that point, I've been working for a company for 8 years as an engineer. Liked the challenge of what I did. Had saw my salary, grow to like $70,000, but then it flatlined for about 3 years. And I kept thinking, man, I'm willing to put in 50, 60 hours. But there was no path. There was no path to get to a six-figure income. I would ask, how do I take my income up? They'd be like, I don't know. Ask someone. And there was nobody else making that kind of money where I was at. So I was hopeful, but I was like, kind of after a while, I realized I was delusional. I was looking for something else, but did not understand.
Delusional
I wasn't looking outside, but I was like, there's got to be more to this. And so I was quietly frustrated because I didn't have a path. We didn't have no such thing as partner as an option as an engineer. It wasn't in the car.
And so Mike was quietly watching on the side what lines. I went out and started making money. Here's the thing. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing, okay? You get to do it, okay? You get to start and you get to go, whether it's your spouse or your family or your friends, okay? I knew I had to start it, and that's what I did. And he saw the paycheck came in. I was like, we got paid, Mike. $283. We're going to be rich. He was like, okay, you go ahead and do that. But then he started to see the bigger picture, see the bigger team.
Yeah. By the time her third paycheck came in, I realized it's time for me to enroll in insurance school. I was like, this is working.
He said, this is a good idea I had, right?
That's right. I took all the credit. And she's like, okay with that. I'll take all the money. So
that's right.
All right. But with that said, we got rolling part-time. We weren't ready to quit our jobs. We were just like, oh my gosh, a second
I actually
income.
did quit my
That's true.
Anyway,
All
he wasn't ready.
She kind of did. I wasn't ready, but I was like, hey, this looks like it's working. I went out there. Once I got my license, I still worked 45, 50, 55, 60 hours a week at my job. Time was precious, but I found out how could I sneak in a dial session. I would be on my lunch break. I would either bring my lunch, hit a drive-through, have my leads, and be dialing in the car, get appointment for the next night. Or if it was getting out of work that evening, if I knew there was traffic, I might stay in the work parking lot and dial in my car because I was like, my dial time was precious. I had no time to screw around. It was like, I've got to make this work if I'm going to do it. I'm not going to treat it like a pissant hobby. I'm going to do this like it's for real, like it matters. And I made a lot of mistakes. I would book 1 or 2 appointments for an evening, and I'd get 1 no-show and have 1 no-close, and I would get frustrated. And then I quickly learned I need to book 3 or 4 appointments in an evening after work, not 1 or 2. I was like, I realized I couldn't control.
Any of y'all feel that?
And so these are lessons I learned. I was just like, I started to realize I could take more control. And then as we did that, I wasn't great at closing, but I got better the more appointments I booked. And I saw more people, and I screwed up more different ways. And I started to realize some of the things I was doing was working, some wasn't. And then as I got a little bit better, we started seeing paychecks come in that were big, like $800, $700, $1,200, $1,300 on a part-time basis. And that was just what we were doing, working with leads, making sure we had enough leads. We weren't scared to buy leads. We weren't worried about our total profitability getting started. We were just saying, let's get enough leads because we ain't got enough time. We got to make this work. And so as we were doing that, we just like, hey, we got a paycheck, great, let's put more in. Let's not worry about how much we are net. And we're just like, let's prove this out, and let's make sure this is working. We learned to take our weekends, man. Hey, we stopped doing other things with friends or family during this phase. So like, look, this is important. We're going to prove this out. And once we were like, okay, this work, we just kind of poured more in more quickly and had fun with it. It might have meant missing so-and-so's 2nd anniversary of losing their 3rd tooth, some major family event that you might have to question, is this important? These are things that we had to give up.
So here's during that time when we first got started, here's some of the lessons that we learned, okay? So you might want to write some things down, but these are some key takeaways that we had. We both realized that the business worked. It works when we're working. Okay? When we're sitting on our couch, it's not going to work. Okay? When we're not on our phone or not driving to a client or not sitting in front of somebody, it's not going to work. So we realized this business works when we work. Like Mike said, time was limited. Our lead investment was critical to what we were doing. We had to make sure that we weren't doing it on a shoestring budget because we were building a business. We were trying to build a life. So we had to invest the commissions that were coming in, what we were making, back into more lead resources and stuff so that we could focus our time. And then the third one here I have is we had to manage our focus. Like, it's one thing to manage your time. It's another thing to manage your focus, what you're doing during that time. If it's work, it's work. If it's family, it's family. So those were 3 big lessons we learned.
So as we're moving along part-time, we were selling it up. We were invited to a meeting group, like maybe 100 people. And at that meeting, we saw other people, and they said, hey, look, y'all are selling. Y'all start recruiting and building. You guys could be growing 200, 300, 400,000 a year income. We weren't thinking like millions or multi-millions or part. We were just like, oh my gosh. And part of me was like, well, probably lying. It's probably only half that much. It's like I was still skeptical, but I was like, well,
this is the engineer in him coming out.
So
I'm like, oh my gosh, we can make 250, 350, 400, $1 million.
I was like,
okay.
But then as I was sitting there saying,
calmed.
I don't know if I believe him. I was like, let's take half 300. That's 150. But then the other side of me is like, but Mike, 150 is still twice what you're making as an engineer, dumbass. This is inside of my head, right? So it's like, so even if they were only half right, it was still twice what my alternative was. And so I was like, okay, I'm in. And so we decided we're going to go full time, and we just said, okay, now we're full time. Let's get recruiting done like it means something. So now we was doing crazy things, traveling on weekends, running ads, and pouring back into. Back then, it was newspaper ads. I remember taking an ad out in the L.A. Times.
You all know what a newspaper is? Some of
Yeah,
them
it's
have
crazy.
no idea.
It's like it mess some people up because we sometimes think, oh my gosh, having a ZipRecruiter account where you pay $1,800 a month is a lot of money. It was $800 for a Sunday ad in the L.A. Times with 5 little lines. If they wanted to make one of them bold, they want to charge you an extra $100.
We didn't do that.
I was like, but I remember dropping on one weekend $800 in L.A. Times and $600 in the Orange County Register. I don't even know if those things are still in business. I just know that they charged a lot of money back then. My point is we weren't scared to invest in recruiting early on, realizing what we had our hands on and treat it real. And I'm not saying that you should go out and run an ad in the L.A. Times today. I'm saying get the mindset of what we were doing to build our business at that point. And next big thing, we got crazier on leads. We opened up where we'd be willing to go. Now, I got to tell you, right now, our ability and tools that we have to manufacture leads more type, someone more focused geographically is unbelievable. We've not had this like it is right now. If you understand, like if you just look for today and you take a look around and you're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna run out of leads. I said between our direct mail, internet leads, social media leads for life insurance, final expense, mortgage protection, Medicare, annuities, our current clients, the ability to create all of that and stay pretty geographically focused in
Referrals.
1 or 2 counties. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all, I hope you can appreciate that because there was a point where we would have to be thinking, well, we need to drive within a 3-hour radius to get all the leads that we need, and we were willing to do it. I'm just like, right now, to not be capitalizing on that, to not be all in and using all the tools that we've got is huge. Other big things as we got rolling back time. We realized additional leads, we had to be investing in staff. It's like, oh my gosh. Now back then we had paper apps. Every app had to be scrubbed, photocopied, and sent off in the mail. We did not have time to do it ourselves. We still need staff to help us check. Some paper apps come in, but even just checking up on pending and working with carriers, that's a massive part. We needed help doing it. I knew I couldn't. I couldn't do it all myself to grow a business, so we got staff. I remember we needed a place to put our staff. When we moved to Louisville, our first place was a townhouse. We chose a 3-level townhouse. The lower level was finished, walkout basement. That was our office. We chose where we were living based on would it support our business. We didn't choose a place that we would live and then figure out later how to support our business. We're like, we're growing a business. We need to find a place that's going to help us. So we made it work, and we made sure that we had whatever we needed back. Internet access to large conference, photocopier, they love photocopy. When we started pushing out 100 applications a week and making copies of all of them, I started to feel sorry. I started buying paper for them because I knew we had won up on that. But bottom line is we were just in business mode. How are we going to grow?
So some of the lessons we learned during this time was delayed gratification. We delayed a lot. Like Mike was talking about, our office we had desks in there, computers in there, everything that we needed for our office and our staff, but our upstairs where we were living, my poor kids, we had beds and chairs and stuff from college and stuff like that, but nothing. We didn't upgrade anything. We didn't put anything on our wall. We didn't buy any new cars. We didn't buy a house. What we did was we invested it back in our business, delaying that gratification until such a time when we could buy a house on our terms, okay? That was a big thing. And then saying no or not now. Saying no. We said no a lot to a lot of things and a lot of different people because we had to focus on building our business. No is okay. It's okay to say no to stuff. We realized we didn't have to be everything and be everywhere for everyone. We can't do that. We were focused on where we were going, okay? So saying no or not now, putting it off. And then selling to eat and recruiting to live. We were selling to eat and recruiting to live. We invested everything back into our business. We were selling so that we could, pay the minimums on everything, but investing that back into our business, into what we were doing on the building our agents force.
Like looking around now, it's like there's some people like, gosh, why aren't they growing? Why aren't they at least selling in this environment? How could you be selling and not doing 20, 30,000 a month if you're focused? It's just like the environment right now for what's there with our combination of product lead flow. I feel like if I were in a situation where my business wasn't growing, or if I felt like I would be all in on taking advantage of what I was selling just to inspire somebody else like myself. You watch what some people are doing right now. It's crazy what we've created, how far we've come. Big thing for us, when we put ourselves under pressure, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like making big commitments, we performed at a higher level. We was scared. Like making scary commitments. One of the biggest things we did at one point, we said, we will have a GMR for the state of Kentucky. Like we said, we'll take all counties everywhere. Andy, you make direct mail. That was the dumbest thing we ever did.
And the smartest thing we ever did.
That's right. It was the dumbest and the smartest at the same time. And when they started coming in, our lead bill was $10,000 a week. It's like, holy cow.
It's like, oh my God, we got to hire some people.
But you know what? It was under that pressure that we said, we ain't going back up. We're going to recruit our way out of this. And we started putting more into recruiting tools. Like it mattered because we was scared to death. You talk about recruiting like your life depends on it. Your partner, that's what we were doing at that point. That's when we had the highest acceleration in our business. And we turned that into one of our most profitable points in our business because we were created that pressure for ourselves, not meaning to, but we look back, it's like creating some pressure for us helped us in a big way. Not being stupid, we had the credit and the cash to manage it. We didn't create a big mess that we couldn't handle, but we were under enough stress to manage it, and we knew we was going to win, even though we had some nights we were crying and cussing trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was crying and cussing. Sorry, two of my kids are here. Yeah, I cussed. I'm sorry. Some lessons we learned was sell and recruit at the same time. At the same time, there's no reason to wait. We have the best opportunity in America right here. We need more people. And then relationships matter. Go see the people. When we were selling and recruiting and hiring people, we were traveling out to see them, and we still do. Okay? And so seeing the people and relationships matter. And don't wait on others. Build your business. It was up to us to do this. We weren't going to wait for anyone else or look around or see. We were like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Right? And that was the attitude we had.
All right. Guys, on the reward side, we've been able to do some amazing things. As the Olympics are going on right now, our kids have been swimmers. We've been able to expose them to a lot of cool things in that arena. We said, hey, if that's their dream and passion, how can we blow it up? They've been to the previous 2 Olympic swim trials. This year was closed down. But what's great is while they're watching, they know some of these Olympic swimmers. They've met them. They've seen them before.
They have swim coaches that are
They've
Olympic
got swim coach. They've got a gold medalist that's a swim coach of theirs with the program they've been a part of. So these things, being able to create these opportunities for our kids has been a dream of ours. We've watched Jane create opportunities for their kids similar. We got excited about that. One of the crazy fun things we've been able to do along the way. And our wish is that as you guys that are able to create crazy fun things that are meaningful, that have a lifetime impact on your kids as you get rolling. And as you hear today, you heard it said earlier, big decisions made at big meetings. As you make that big decision, make sure you back it up with figure out how am I going to manage it. And so as you're here today and you're sitting there thinking, what am I doing to commit? Because we need you back here. We need you going agency manager. We need you on a path to partner. We need you moving fast. Guys, come with us.
Get
Steve
it.
needs you. Let's
All right.
rock on.